Welcome to the Pulse on Pulse Crops. I'm your host, Tim McGreevy. In this episode, we are going to take a look at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's 2020 Annual Production Report for dry peas, lentils, and chickpeas, and USDA's mid-year stock report. In January 2021, the USDA released its 2020 annual crop production and December stock report. The corn, soybean, and wheat futures markets responded to the release of this report by going nearly limit up on all three crops. While USDA was lowering yields for corn and soybeans, they were increasing yields for dry peas, lentils, and chickpeas. The USDA figured out what every farmer in the northern tier already knew. Crop year 2020 was an exceptional year for the production of dry peas, lentils, and chickpeas, and on top of it, crop quality was outstanding. The USDA 2020 Annual Production Report released in January put harvested acres of dry peas at 973,000. This is a 3% increase from their September forecast, but still a 7% below the total harvested acreage of dry peas in the 2019 crop year. Dry pea yields were over 280 pounds an acre higher than the 5-year average yield. USDA pegged production at 985,000 metric tons, a 17% increase from the September report, but a 2% decrease from the 2019 crop year. Strong export and domestic demand in the fall of 2020 was well above levels from a year ago. Exports jumped 140,000 metric tons from the same period in 2019. Domestic demand was over 4,000 metric tons higher than last year at this time. USDA put stocks on hand for dry peas at the beginning of December at 546,675 metric tons. This is a 164,701 metric ton decline from a year ago. The USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council is forecasting continued strong international and domestic demand for dry peas through the remaining months of this marketing year. We forecast ending stocks of dry peas to be around 145,000 metric tons by the end of this marketing year, which puts the projected stocks-to-use ratio for dry peas at around 10%. The U.S. Department of Agriculture put the total 2020 harvested acres of lentils at 514,000 acres. This is a 6% increase from their September forecast and a 17% increase from the 2019 lentil harvest of 425,000 acres. The increase in lentil yields in 2020 was 241 pounds above the 5-year average at 1,442 pounds per acre, a great yield. USDA pegged lentil production at 336,161 metric tons. This is 14% higher than the September report and 40% higher than the 2019 crop. Strong demand from India in the first half of the marketing year helped increase export demand. USDA put stocks on hand for lentils at 214,960 metric tons, and this is over 10,000 metric tons lower than the same period in 2019. The USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council is forecasting steady international and domestic demand for lentils for the next several months. We forecast that 73,295 metric tons of lentils will be left at the end of this marketing year. If our projection is accurate, it would put the stocks-to-use ratio for lentils at around 15% by June 1st. Total harvested acres of chickpeas was pegged at 262,900 acres in 2020. This represents a 35% decline in chickpea acreage since last year. Small chickpeas suffered the largest reduction in acreage, dropping to 47,900 acres, a 48% decline from last year. Large chickpea harvested acreage took a pretty big hit as well, dropping 31% from last year to come in at 215,000 acres. Overall chickpea yields were the second highest in the past 5 years at 1,625 pounds per acre. Total chickpea production in 2020 came in at 193,822 metric tons, a 32% decline from a year ago. Small chickpea production was recorded at 36,968 metric tons in 2020. Large chickpea production was reported at 156,854 metric tons. Chickpea exports in the first half of the marketing year were 4,000 metric tons lower than last year at this time. However, domestic demand picked up that slack. USDA put stocks on hand for chickpeas at 262,406 metric tons, and this is a reduction of over 49,000 metric tons from the same period a year ago. The USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council is forecasting steady international and domestic demand for chickpeas until the end of the marketing year in May. We forecast that 89,764 metric tons of chickpeas will be left on June 1st. This would be a stocks-to-use ratio of 21% at the end of the marketing year. Well, that wraps up our analysis on the USDA's 2020 production report and the mid-year stock report for dry peas, lentils, and chickpeas. Remember, markets can change quickly, so be sure to keep in touch with your market advisors. And remember, when you have a choice, choose pulses. Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Pulse on Pulse Crops. We'll see you next time.